And I am not gonna come out of this breakup believing that love is too good to be true. I'm not gonna believe that all men just hurt you, because that would only be a disservice to me. To carry those limiting beliefs the rest of my life will only hurt me in the end, which is exactly why I'm walking away from this breakup with the opposite belief. I'm walking away knowing that love is an amazing experience that everybody gets to have. In 2022, I journaled that I was ready to transform the belief that there was no one out there who could truly love me in an intimate way. Here's the journal entry. There is someone out there who really truly can love me, and I'm ready to let it in. Let's go. I read that to you because I'm so proud to say that I actually broke through my fears and limiting beliefs so that I could finally be in an intimate relationship. I'm heartbroken right now because the first boyfriend I ever had broke up with me. And although we were only together for 5 months, it's still really painful. So for the first time, I'm gonna talk to you about how I'm working through this heartbreak and hopefully empower you to know that no matter what a person says or does, it never has anything to do with how valuable and lovable you are as a human being. Now, I want to tell you that just a couple years ago, I actually did a mushroom healing ceremony with some of my closest friends in a private setting in the mountains of Colorado. And my intention in doing that mushroom ceremony was to finally allow myself the opportunity to be in love, because I'd never had been in love. I never dated anybody. I had a lot of ideas of what it would be like to be in a relationship. I took negative experiences that I saw people in my life go through, and I thought that I would have the same experience as them. I thought that being in a relationship meant that I would lose my freedom, that I would have to deal with so much chaos and drama, that I would be with someone who was toxic for me, just like I saw so many of my friends experience. And I'm really happy to say that I did not have that experience at all in my first relationship with Jeff. I actually had the opposite experience. I felt empowered, loved, supported. It was fun and spontaneous and playful and free. It was everything that I thought it could never be. Being in a relationship was something that added to my life, whereas if you had asked me years ago, I would have told you that I thought it would take from my life. I thought it would only make my life worse. I didn't realize that it could actually empower me to evolve into my highest self the way that I see it doing just in the last couple of days. In this podcast, I am not going to be saying anything negative about my ex-boyfriend, and that is not the purpose of this podcast. So if that's what you want to hear, this episode is not going to be for you. The truth is, I have so much gratitude for Jeff because he was the first guy that really showed me just how lovable and deserving I am. He was the first guy to allow me to fully open up and be able to experience what it was like to be in love. And the decision for us to break apart really came from him. It didn't come from me. He's on a different path in life than me. He's still in the stage of discovering what he really wants for himself. And I'm in the stage of knowing exactly what I want for myself. And so we just had a little bit of a different vision for our long-term lives. And I'm able to sit here and talk to you very clear-headed. But the truth is, like any other human, I've had tremendous moments of sadness. I'm losing somebody that I've loved so much for the last 5 or 6 months. But the gratitude that I have for the journey that Jeff and I walked together really trumps the disappointment of us not being together long term. So I just want to read you a couple of the questions that I was asking myself before I had actually done that mushroom ceremony. So here it goes. What shift do I need to make in my life in order to trust men? What shift do I need to make in my life to allow myself to experience an intimate relationship? How do I open myself up to love that's more than a friendship? In addition to the questions I asked myself, I also journaled a little bit about what I wanted. I said, I feel more open now than I've ever felt before, and I just want to see what this love thing is all about. I'm writing it out to speak it into existence. We'll see what happens next. Stay tuned. I share this with you because there was a point in my life where I never thought that I could actually be in a relationship. When I was young, I was actually told by a girl on the back of my school bus that I was gay, and she bullied me and made me wrong for the way that I loved my friends because I was so affectionate, and I still am today. Through many years, I actually carried the belief that something was wrong with me because of that memory and experience I had. Now, I went through tons of therapy, life coaching, plant medicine ceremonies, hypnotherapy, spiritual guides, and I always unpacked this question of why does being in a relationship and dating not come easily to me the way it does for all these other girls in my life? I could never wrap my head around that. I saw what other people had and I thought, well, that's great for them, but it will never happen for me. I thought because of the differences that I had compared to other people that maybe I was just not qualified to be in love, that there was just something about me that disqualified me from the dating pool. And I can't tell you how many tears I shed thinking that I would never be able to be with anyone because of the shame I carried, that I wasn't like other girls, and that guys wouldn't really be attracted to me. They wouldn't want to be with me in an intimate way. A couple months ago when I met Jeff on Hinge, even though I was really closed off in the beginning, I was able to work through a lot of the fears that I had. Originally, when I was on dates with him, I kept analyzing everything. Is he the person for me? Is it worth my time to hang out with him? Are we going to even be a good match for each other? Every time I'd go on dates, I was met with this frustration that I had towards myself, that I wasn't measuring up for a guy, that I was missing qualities that would make them be attracted to me. I wasn't playful enough. I wasn't relaxed enough. I wasn't feminine enough. I was too dominant. I was too independent. There were all these things about me that I thought I had to change in order to be loved. And now I know that that is definitely not the case, thanks to Jeff. Jeff and I had the most wonderful relationship, even though it was short-lived. I actually told him in the very beginning of our relationship, hey, no matter what, I want us to always communicate our truths, our feelings, and our fears with one another, even if it's disappointing, even if it hurts the other person to hear. And I can honestly say that Jeff and I always communicated from that place together, even when it was scary to do. A few weeks ago, Jeff came to me and let me know that he was still discovering what he wanted in life. And I told him I completely understand that. I'm still discovering a lot of the things that I want in life. And I told him, look, there's never any pressure to be in this relationship. I love you a ton and I know that you love me. But at the end of the day, I want you to know that I would never hold you back from following your intuition and doing what you feel is best for you in this very moment. Even if it hurts me, you always should choose yourself at the end of the day. Inevitably, when we make decisions in life, sometimes it affects other people and it hurts them. But that's part of life, and I understand that because I've had to do that in my own life. When I was 13 years old, my parents and I moved from our small town in Connecticut all the way to Las Vegas, and I left so many friends and family behind in that move. So many of my loved ones were heartbroken, but my family and I had to make that decision because it was what was best for us at that time. So when Jeff broke up with me, I came from that place of compassion and understanding. Never for a second did I make this breakup mean something about my self-worth, my value, or my lovability. And I think that's what I've seen so many women do when they come out of a relationship, when they have a partner that tells them, I can't commit to you fully. I can't be with you anymore. For whatever reason, women often immediately make meaning out of that and decide that they're not worthy, that they're not being chosen fully because there's some sort of flaw within them that isn't lovable. And if you're watching this right now, I want you to know that that could not be further from the truth. You never have to convince someone or change yourself for another person to see your inherent value. You never have to convince someone of your worth. You never have to prove yourself to them. You never have to change who you are. I want you to know that when you came into this world, when you were born, you were instantly a gift to everyone around you, instantly. And that does not ever change in life. No matter what you say or do, no matter what somebody's words or actions are towards you, you always will remain that gift. Now, not everyone is going to see your gift. Not everyone will see your value. But when that happens to you, when someone doesn't see your value in their life, remember that another person will. I really want you to let that in right now. When Jeff broke up with me, my frame of mind was, this is happening for me. This is happening for my own good, because I know through life experiences that anytime I faced a disappointment, a rejection, a loss, I was being led to something better, bigger, something that was going to serve me even more than what I had previously. And I know sometimes it sounds like a bunch of bullshit maybe, but that's the way that I choose to look at my life, because it empowers me and helps me evolve into the person that I'm becoming. One of the things that has made this breakup so hard is that it feels like Jeff and I have had so much more of a story to write together, that it shouldn't have ended as early as it did, because we had so many plans for the future, and it hurts knowing that everything has come to an end now and we won't be able to live those experiences out with one another. But I always like to remind myself that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Jeff is exactly where he's supposed to be. To think that this shouldn't be happening for me right now is to resist life. And resisting life only creates internal suffering. The way I feel at peace in my life is when I can find acceptance in what is. It's when I can realize that no amount of fighting against my reality is going to change the situation. And that's why I'm able to be so clear-headed on this podcast today, because I know for sure that a little while from now, sometime into the future, I'm going to look back at this video and I'm going to go, wow, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have my very first heartbreak, because this heartbreak is the reason that I'm able to sit here with you right now and tell you that you're not alone in whatever loss you are experiencing or have experienced in your life. I can sit here and tell you, do not let anybody's words or actions ever determine your self-worth. Don't let it ever change your self-image and the way you hold yourself and view yourself in life. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that life is sunshine and rainbows and I'm so happy that I'm not with Jeff anymore, because that would be a lie. The truth is, I wish that I could hang out with him right now. I wish that I could talk to him, because I loved being around him. And he was such a good boyfriend to me. He really was. This journey has been very much an up and down journey, a roller coaster of emotions. Some moments I feel on top of the world and I feel like I'm just ready to make an impact for others through my experience. And other moments I feel so sad and heartbroken to feel the pain that I'm feeling. But I know that the only way out is through, that I cannot suppress my emotions. I can't ignore them. I can't pretend that I'm not sad going through this breakup. I have to allow myself to cry, allow myself to just sink into the sadness and bask in it. It's really hard for somebody like me to do because people who know me really deeply know that I am a very happy, positive, uplifted person like 90% of the time. And I've always been that way. So for me, it's feeling this pain and sadness is a little bit incongruent with the way that I perceive myself to be such a happy, positive person. But here's the thing I know. There's no way that we can reach a place of wholeness within ourselves by cutting out aspects of who we are. I can't cut out the parts of me that feel sadness sometimes, because if I cut that out, I'm disowning a part of me and resisting myself, which does not lead to acceptance within. What I have to do is integrate all aspects of me, integrate the happy, positive Shana with the sad, disappointed Shana. And I have to love that all those traits make up who I am. I spent so much of my life believing that I had to be happy all the time because people saw me in that light. People tell me to this day that I am such a light, that I'm so joyful and positive. And while that is true, I also want people to know that I'm a human like everyone else. I go through pain, I feel hurt, I feel disempowered sometimes, I feel alone. All the range of human experiences I also feel. And it's so important that you give yourself the freedom to express whatever comes up for you moment to moment. I want you to know that you don't have to hold yourself in a box. You don't have to be only a happy person. You don't have to suppress those emotions that you think are negative, because the truth is, no emotions are negative. No emotions are positive even. They're neutral. They're neutral. We add meaning ourselves. We decide that happiness is good and sadness is bad. Who's to say that? Who determines that? It's simply not true. There's actually value in all the emotions, right? When we're angry, we know that a boundary has been violated. We know that we're not willing to tolerate something anymore. No emotions are bad inherently. You decide that for yourself. So if you're wondering, yes, I am taking that time and space to process what I'm going through behind the scenes of the cameras. What you're seeing right now is me speaking from a place of empowerment, because that's how I feel in this moment. When Jeff and I had the conversation that we were gonna break up, I told him, I want you to know how lovable you are. Even if I'm hurt by this, it does not change the fact that I view you as such a wonderful person. And I want to tell you that I'm so grateful that you showed me what love is. And I told him if it were not for you, I wouldn't have experienced what it's like to really be intimate with someone, to really be vulnerable and put myself at risk to being hurt. Because in putting myself at risk to being hurt, I also opened up the opportunity to feel an immense amount of love. You know, it really pains me that oftentimes when women go through breakups, they immediately decide that they're never gonna date again, or that they hate men, and they take their experience and they decide that from that point on, they're only gonna continue to have that heartbreaking experience with other people. And you know, if you believe that, then yes, that is gonna be your reality, because as humans, when we have a belief about something, We will go to the ends of the earth to be right about that belief. We will seek evidence in the outside world to prove that our belief is true. And I am not going to come out of this breakup believing that love is too good to be true. I'm not going to believe that all men just hurt you, that all men are immature or bad or ill-intentioned, because I don't believe that to be true. I've actually only ever met men personally that were amazing to me, even if I wasn't in a relationship with them. I do not want my breakup to cause me to become jaded and untrusting in the world, because that would only be a disservice to me. To carry those limiting beliefs the rest of my life will only hurt me in the end, which is exactly why I'm walking away from this breakup with the opposite belief. I'm walking away knowing that love is an amazing experience that everybody gets to have. I'm walking away from this believing in my heart that at some point when I'm ready, I will find another guy that I adore that also loves me. And I will continue writing my love stories and showing other people what's possible for them. Now, I know that unfortunately, so many people have gone through toxic relationships and experiences that hurt them to their core. And if that's you, I want to tell you that I have so much compassion for you, because I don't know what that's like. I don't. But I hope for you that you can find a place in your heart to feel compassion for the person who hurt you, and to understand that them hurting you was likely a reflection of hurt that they experienced in their lives at some point down the line. I want you to know how deserving and worthy you are of the kind of love that you want. And I also want to encourage you to really be clear about what that looks like for you. Because I can tell you that back in 2021, I wrote out a list of all the qualities that I wanted to have in a boyfriend. Playful, funny, affectionate, warm, sensitive, emotionally aware, open, deep, connected, authentic, fun, masculine, genuine, thoughtful, confident, self-assured, independent, trustworthy, and committed. I know it might sound like bullshit to you, but when I met Jeff and I went through this list of qualities from my journal, I knew that we would have a wonderful relationship together because he met this list of traits. Even if Jeff and I are not together anymore, I still appreciate him and respect him for everything that he offered me in our relationship. He was a safe space for me. He was funny. He was giving. He was so vulnerable. He was able to connect with my friends and family in such a meaningful, deep way. I mean, there's 1,000,001 reasons why I get to be so grateful for Jeff for coming into my life. And you know, my point of view is that everyone comes into our lives for a reason. They come into our lives to be a teacher to us, to shine a light on areas of ourselves that need healing and growth and awareness. They show us the parts of ourselves that need tending to. And with Jeff, I know for sure that he was meant to come into my life to show me that I have nothing to be afraid of when it comes to being in love. That girl, me, who was once so closed off to letting any guys in, is now open, like a butterfly spreading its wings. So how can I hold resentment towards him if he was that teacher for me? I believe that the people who challenge us the most are actually our greatest teachers. And this situation has certainly challenged me in many ways, but it's also been a gift. Now I'm so committed to putting out content for people to see how they can create a beautiful partnership in their life, how they can move on from heartbreak and find healing and open themselves up to love again, even though their heart has been hurt. And that's what I'm gonna do from here on out. That's exactly why I'm talking to you today. On January 30th, 2021, I actually wrote this journal entry when I was starting to date for the first time. I'm in a relationship that I never knew was possible to have with a human who absolutely leaves me breathless. He's all that I wanted and more. He's funny as all hell, knows how to mess with me and be playful. He's sweet, genuine, caring, aware emotionally, and is such a loving man. In his space, I feel so comfortable and trusting, like I have no fears or anything to worry about because his intentions are pure. I love that he fully owns his masculine energy, but knows how to be soft and tender when the moment calls for it. I'm so happy because I now know how it feels to love and be loved, but in an intimate way. I'm so excited to keep enjoying this experience. Everything that I wrote in that journal entry is exactly what I experienced in my relationship with Jeff. It's insane, but manifestation is actually real. And manifestation doesn't mean that you just think about what you want or write it down and then hope it'll magically come to you one day. No. With manifestation, even if you're clear about what you want, you still have to take action towards that thing. You're still going to go through challenges and trials and tribulations until you have that thing that you want. It doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. This journal entry was from 2021. I met Jeff in 2023, towards the end of the year. You have to trust in the timing of your life with relationships. You have to know that at some point, what you're looking for is going to find you. They say that what's meant for you will never pass you by, and I believe it. January 2nd, 2022, I wrote another journal entry and I said, today, I heard it's a powerful day for manifesting, so I'm crystal clear that I'm going to find a boyfriend within 1 month from now. That didn't quite happen. He's gonna love depth, personal growth, true, genuine connection, and of course, fun. He's gonna be super real, meaning no image conversations. He will pursue me because he simply loves me as I am, is so inspired by my passion, and sees my badassness because he's equally a badass. He sees my light because he sees his own. I'm manifesting that I will feel seen, heard, and understood for who I am when I'm with him. That's a real journal entry that I had in 2022, people. You can't make this shit up. And you know what? I used to look at other people and their experiences and I used to think, well, that's great for them, but that's way out of reach for me. That would never happen for me because this, and this about me disqualifies me from having a relationship, from having whatever it is that other people get to have. And guess what? I'm living proof that that is not the case. That is not the case. Every one of us are gonna walk our own unique path in life. It's gonna look so different from everyone else around us. And you have to trust in the path that you're going on. You have to believe that everything is meant to be exactly how it is for you. Because every experience that you have is leading you to the next experience and to the next experience, all to support your growth and evolution. And that's where I'm at today. I believe that going through this heartbreak is gonna give me the opportunity to make even more of a difference for people who need to hear my words. And I do this for that one person who needs to hear from me. Because I can't tell you how many comments I received from my Instagram video about my breakup, from people saying how hard it's been to move on from their own heartbreak, how hard it's been to find love again after loss. So if you're one of those people, I want to let you know first that I hear you and I see you and I can relate to you in my own way. And I want you to know that you are not alone, because I spent so much of my life believing that I was alone, believing I was the only one, believing that everyone else could have a relationship, but I couldn't. If you see something that I have, I want you to know that you can have it too. If you saw my relationship with Jeff through my social media posts and you got a little bit jealous, I want you to know that that jealousy is a directional signal pointing you to the fact that you might want that very experience I had, but maybe there are some limiting beliefs or fears or shame or something underlying within you that's blocking you from having it. I know I had many of those fears, insecurities, and beliefs that were stopping me from experiencing intimate love. I posted a video the other day from back in September, the day that Jeff and I officially became boyfriend and girlfriend. And I shared with my followers that now, 5 months later, we've broken up. And I had so many people flooding my DMs, my comment section, people who texted me, and they told me how grateful they were that I was able to open up and be vulnerable and real about my experience and my heartbreak. And then I had people who criticized me for crying on social media. I had people tell me yuck about my vulnerability. People that said I was being dramatic. People that said that I needed to just get off social media. People that said how embarrassing I was. And you know what? I have to say that when you put yourself out there in the real life or on camera, you're gonna find both of those people, the people who wanna hate on you and judge you and misunderstand you, and the people who wanna love you, support you, and be guided by you. That is the reason I make videos, because I am looking for the people who want to be guided. I'm looking for the people who hear what I have to say and resonate with that. I'm looking for the people who are looking for support in their lives. And that's who I want to talk to. That's who I want to serve and make an impact on. I can't have fans without having haters. I can't have one or the other. When I decided to be a content creator, I went into this decision knowing that not everyone would understand me, that some people just wouldn't get the essence of who I am. And that's certainly true. But just because there are people who are going to watch this and not understand me, that does not mean that I'm going to stop using my voice and sharing my truths. Because the vision I have for myself is to one day be on stages speaking to thousands of people. And I will not stop taking action until I get there. I want to coach, teach, and train people. I want to equip them with the skills they need to really set them up in life to create whatever it is they want. That's my goal. I want to teach people how to turn their confusion into clarity, courage, and confidence in their lives. And I got to first start by being that. I've got to embody my very mission. I got to walk the talk. It's not easy being vulnerable online or in the real world, quite frankly, but I can tell you that vulnerability is the greatest measure of courage that we have. That's what Brené Brown says. She's a vulnerability research expert. I really, really stand by the fact that vulnerability is our most powerful asset. Being in this relationship with Jeff, there were so many times where I had to be vulnerable and it was scary. I didn't know how he would react, but every time I was met with love and acceptance and understanding. So right now, as I work on healing my heart through just processing my emotions and giving myself the space to go through what I need to go through, I'm also going to be letting you in on that intimate journey. One of the reasons I started a personal brand is because I never really saw vulnerability from the people in my social media feeds. I felt alone a lot of the time in the thoughts that I was having about myself. I wondered if there was anyone else out there who could possibly relate to my experiences. So when I started making content, I made an oath to myself that I was gonna be vulnerable, that I was really gonna put myself out there in the most intimate way, no matter what judgment or rejection I received online. And I'm doing that here today. If you follow me, you know that that has been my mission for the last couple of years now, and it will continue to be. I don't want you to think that my life is so put together, that I have everything figured out, that I have all the answers, that I'm somehow exempt from heartbreak and pain because I have an empowering mindset. That is not the case. I'm not exempt from any of the experiences that maybe you have lived. Even though I wish that I wasn't going through the pain that I'm feeling right now, I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. This pain is showing me, if anything, how much I loved. I don't regret anything in my relationship with Jeff because I was uninhibited. I was free. I was loving. I was vulnerable. I was courageous. I didn't hold back any aspect of who I am. I used my voice. I spoke up, I communicated what I wanted and needed even when it was hard. Something I'm really excited about is the fact that Jeff is actually taking the same personal development training that I took myself when I was 18 years old. And even though we're broken up, I will be there at his training graduation because no matter what, I always want what is best for him. Because I really do love and care about him, and I always will. I don't wish any ill will on Jeff. I don't harbor any feelings of anger and resentment. I just want him to know that I'm thrilled that he's going on a journey of discovering what kind of life he wants to live. I've been on that journey and I will continue to go on that journey, as will so many of us. And I would never take that away from anyone. So even though I won't really be talking to Jeff going forward, I just want to share that I see so much for him in his future. I honestly believe that with his personal brand, which I helped him start, that he's going to be able to make an impact on so many people the same way that I have over the last couple of years. I believe that he, at some point down the line, is going to find a wonderful relationship that works for him, just like I am. All the things that I want for myself going forward, I want for Jeff too. So if you're listening to this, first off, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for going through the journey of life's highs and lows with me. If you've been following me on social media, please let me know what content of mine has resonated with you, because at the end of the day, I'm here to make an impact for you. I want to be relatable. I want to be imperfect. I want you to look at my life and go, wow, if she can do it, so can I. So I'm going to end this podcast with a quote that you've probably heard yourself at some point in your life. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved before. Here's to the redirection that the universe is bringing to me right now in my life. I can't wait to see what's in store for me from here.